Hi, welcome to Dark Night Healing. My name is Julie if you're new to my channel. I am a healer. I am a shapeshifter. I am an empath. I am a Reiki master. I am many things. I am here to help you. I'm also a projector in the human design. So I'm here for the other. I'm here for all the wonderful people out there who need me. This particular inspiration from Spirit for this video came to me, and we're going to talk about fear and guilt and resistance. And so I was very afraid as a child. Like I was adventurous and all that, but I was also very afraid. It didn't start out that way though. I always knew I was different. From a very young age, I knew I was different. Some of the adults spoke differently to me than the other kids. I was definitely given a lot more responsibility than the other children. Also because I was the oldest, but in a lot of aspects, I was a lot more mature than even my primary parent at a young age. So my dynamic works a little different. But I became very fearful because of some of these things. Because I was different, I stood out a lot. Like, I remember fondly my grandparents used to play cards with our extended family, like their brothers and sisters and stuff. They would all get together and play cards, and sometimes there would be arguments over where Julie sat because Julie was lucky. Not that Julie had any luck. I don't have any luck myself. But if I sit beside somebody, for some reason, they win. So there was some pretty interesting arguments when I was younger over who I would sit next to. Do I sit next to Grandma? Is it Grandpa? Maybe it was Auntie tonight. Who wanted me to sit beside them the most? It was kind of adorable, really. But as I got older, the attention got obviously more negative, and so because of that, I became fearful. I also lost, at 7 years old, one of my favorite great-grandparents, and it was very hard to deal with that. It was my first time dealing with a human death. I was 4 when I dealt with my first death. It was a bird. But this was my first human death, and this was one of my favorite people on the planet. And I remember being at the funeral, and I remember them telling me not to stop crying. So I learned at a young age that emotion wasn't really acceptable, especially that kind of emotion. So we didn't cry a lot, and even if you were grieving, you still showed that brave face. Didn't matter what age you were. That was something I always kind of rebelled against, just because you're at a funeral to mourn the person that you've lost, and if you're not going to cry there, where are you going to cry? So don't be afraid to cry at the funeral of a loved one. That is silly. Feel your feelings, because not feeling them just buries them, and then this is something you have to heal later. And guilt. Family will make you feel guilty. It's the worst type of guilt, because family was everything, and family means everything, and you did everything for your family. And so when you start trying to break the cycles, the guilt, not even necessarily them verbally guilting you into it, but the guilt that you will feel will be strong. Like, sometimes even now I can still hear them in my head. And it's something we all will have to work on. But this fear and this guilt puts us in such resistance to what our true purpose is. It can be debilitating. I had a fear of death for years. I was terrified of it. I honestly believed that that was the fucking end. My great-grandpa had died, and he was gone forever. And I was devastated. Absolutely devastated, because I was going to lose everyone that way. So I became terrified of death. I didn't want to talk about it. Thinking about it scared the living hell out of me. You know? And after great-grandpa died, there was like one death after another for like a decade. Like, and one year, I think there was 3. It just about shook, it shook our whole family. And yeah, even when I found, Jesus through the witnesses and was studying the Bible, I still believed that we were dead. There was nothing. And that was a terrifying thing for me. I didn't want to not exist. Like, why? Why am I here? Why am I here if it's just to, like, don't tell me a Big Bang happened and people, because if that's the truth, a Big Bang, boof, happened, and just magically humans came out of the primordial soup, well, that basically means that fuck everything, because there's no one watching. There's no one here to tell us to be good. There's no one here to tell us to treat each other nicely. There's no one here to tell these people to stop doing what they're doing. Why do we have to be good then? Why do we have to love one another? Why does it matter if we're not here for a purpose? Tell me. Tell me in the comments, like, seriously, if you honestly believe that we became out of a Big Bang and primordial soup, why? What was the purpose of that? Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. None of it doesn't make sense. When you line it up, it doesn't make sense. Like, I remember when they were trying to convince me that, evolution happened this way they're saying it did. I'm like, well, right off the bat, I can't believe that 100%, because what they're describing as evolution is extended adaptation, and we still have sharks. Sharks aren't walking on land. They've been the same predator for a long time. We also still have apes and gorillas and monkeys. So why was it just this particular group that evolved so much over time? Evolved. It doesn't make sense. There was an interference somewhere. It's like we took 6,000 years to build a light bulb, but hey, 50 years later, we have the atom bomb. Boom. No. That doesn't make sense. So when I started this healing journey and I learned about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, it really opened my eyes, because I learned that we are all energy. Everything is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred, or it can be changed. So that means that my grandparents were really gone. I just couldn't see them anymore. I couldn't hug them. That's one of the hardest things for me, is not being able to give them a hug. But now I know they're with me. I now know they're protecting me. And And they have been the whole time. I also know that they tried to warn my family. They were all given a warning. Now, they didn't like the warning because the warning came in the form of my grandfather visiting them after death. And they all got extremely terrified and sold the family cabin and a bunch of other things and decided that, drugs, it was messed up. It was messed up. But Spirit tried to warn them. They just didn't, they were too afraid to receive the message. And the reason I spent years wondering why I didn't get the message, because Grandpa was my favorite person in the world. Why wouldn't he come to me? I was his BJ. I was his big Julie. I was his firstborn grandchild. Why would he not visit me? Well, he didn't visit me because the protection warning was for me. He was trying to tell them that I needed to be protected. They need to stop and protect me because I'm here to do a special thing for our family. I'm here to heal us. But I can't do that. I couldn't do that in that environment. I couldn't do that with the people that were in my life still hurting me. So the spirits sent a message. So if you're one of my family and you're watching this and my grandfather visited you after death, know that that was your message and that was your warning that I needed to be protected and that my children needed to be protected. But it's okay. Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to anyway. They want you to know. Because they have my back. And they've been protecting me. But the guilt and the fear that I had since a small child really set the tone for many years. It's just something that you have to sit with, something that you have to feel. You can't just ignore the pain, even if it's not a physical pain, but it's a soul pain. You have to sit with it. You have to feel it. Feel it and feel what shape it is. Feel if it hurts, if it's spiky, what kind of pain is it? What is the shape of this pain? What is the texture of this pain? Do you think you could remove it with some sort of biosurgery after a bioscan? It's a painful process, but I don't think anything in this particular realm was supposed to be easy. I think that this is a training grounds, to be perfectly honest, for higher learning. So don't let your fears and your guilt block you, because they will put you into resistance for what you are meant to do, what you are meant to receive, and how fast you're meant to receive it. This life wasn't meant to be too hard. Like, physical pain's gonna happen, illness is gonna happen, life lessons are gonna happen, but it's part of the process. The learning. But once you get to the learning and you've done the learning properly and you've adapted to it into your life for your design, then it flows. All those people that get things that just seemingly keep coming to them, and you're like, wow, holy moly, you're really lucky. Well, ask them what they're doing, because they seem to be tuned in and tapped on. And they're letting it flow. They're not in resistance. They don't have that fear holding them back. Fear and guilt are two of the world's biggest resistances. People fear what they don't understand. People fear what they don't know. Humans especially. And then they try to destroy it. That's just how it is. So, if you're watching this and you feel that fear and guilt are really at the forefront and the center of some of your blockages, well, you can go do some meditations. You can have a shower, get out in nature, sage yourself, sage your home, cleanse your home. There's so many things that you can do to help let go of the fear and the guilt. It's going to take work. It will take time. And yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. There's no way around it. You can't avoid it. If you keep trying to avoid it, you're going to do yourself worse. You're putting yourself into resistance, and what you don't heal in your energetic aura will become a physical illness. And if it becomes a physical illness and you don't catch it, then it becomes a disease, and it may even lead to death. People have actually died of broken heart. It's the fear of living without that person. It's a real thing. You know? So don't let that happen to you. Seek the light. Heal the trauma. Let go of the guilt and the fear. And you will be free. If you need help with any of these ways to do this, you can message me on any of my platforms. I can do personal tarot reading for you. I can help you with your human design if that's something you're interested in. I can also do some cleansings, some Reiki, or some guided meditations. I also have, if you're in Alberta, intention candles that I'm working on right now, and I will be working on some herbal salves and some herbal oils as well. So if you're interested in any of that, you can message me anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see it. Other than that, have a great week or a great weekend whenever this finds you, and be well. Thank you. Dark Night Healing.